Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Joachim Haas, Ultimus Product Manager, and I will be helping with the logistics of today's webinar. Our listeners will be in listen-only mode. However, you can ask questions in the Q&A area at any time. We'll answer your questions after the presentations. With that, let me turn it over to Carsten Neumann.
Thanks, Joachim. I would like to welcome you to today's webinar, using low-code BPM platforms to accelerate digital transformation. So now let me introduce myself. I'm Carsten Neumann, Senior Vice President, Enterprise Solutions at Ultimus, and I'm the leader of Ultimus Solution Business globally. So we all know that digital is transforming today's business landscape, and digital transformation is essential in today's world. So we have assembled a group of very experienced people with multiple viewpoints and backgrounds to explain the role that low-code BPM platforms can play in this digital transformation. First up will be acclaimed BPM and low-code industry analyst Richardson of Forrester Research. Clay not only coined the phrases low-code and low-code BPM, but he has extensive experience implementing BPM solutions. And covering the implementation side of digital transformation, we also have with us today Hasan Irmak. He's the founder and the CEO of Imageware, a Swiss company with a premier reputation and track record implementing BPM-based solutions in government and regulated industries. And as I mentioned, I'm Carsten Neumann, and I will give you the vendor perspective and talk about our approach to low-code BPM. So now, without further delay, let me pass the microphone to Mr. Clay Richardson. Clay. He said there is an urgent need to deliver applications more quickly, as success very often depends on the speed of software delivery. But I think, as you all would agree, the challenge is that this has to be achieved while the requirements are becoming more complex than ever. So what we see right now is that the traditional approaches to process automation have struggled to meet these challenges of speed and complexity. And as Clay outlined, this has driven the growth of the new low-code BPM category. And while we've talked about the need to develop quickly, we at Ultimus believe that we also have to consider costs, quality, and of course, the ability to manage. Sorry, the ability to manage these created solutions. In order to truly address all of these challenges, we need something very different, a completely new and disruptive way of thinking, a new way of creating software, and in order to meet the challenges of digital transformation, we need to transform application development and delivery. And the way to do that is to do industrialize software development. So what do I mean by industrializing software development, and why is it essential for digital transformation? So let's think about the Industrial Revolution. So before the Industrial Revolution, everything was handcrafted. So have a look at this guy. He's building everything by hand, and every single piece. So this process is slow, it's error-prone, it's expensive. And the funny thing is, that's what still happens today with software. And this is how Ultimus sees what most vendors trying to do in the low-code BPM space. So in the early stages of the Industrial Revolution, we had water power and then steam engines. They increased productivity, which was really a great deal, but we were still building the same things over and over in an error-prone way. And the progress quickly reached an unmovable boundary, kind of a limit in terms of what was possible in product or software speed, cost, and quality. So it wasn't until the final stage of the industrialization, factories that used automated assembly, that order of magnitude improvements in cost, speed, and quality were attained. And well, that's why a BMW can be produced thousands and thousands of times a week, and each one is slightly different. And I'm quite sure you would agree that there's no customer at BMW who would complain about restrictions or limitation when he's configuring his car. And that picture, that's why all too frequently we spend millions and years to develop software that looks like this, instead of like the nice BMW that I've showed before. So what we see, for decades, software engineers have sought out the holy grail of industrialization, of a factory that would generate software from requirements, where you could simply describe what you need your software to do, and all the implementation details and complexity would be taken care of automatically. I'm sure you all have heard about these different approaches of generative development or software factories, software product lines, but this nirvana for software development has always been blocked by the conventional wisdom that every software application is unique. And we think that might have been true in the 1960s, 80s, or even in 2000. But we've been building business software for a long, long time now. And in our case, Ultimus has implemented over 1,400 automated process software applications. So just like the car companies understand what people want and how to build it really well, we felt that Ultimus ought to be able just to do the same. So here's a sampling of the over 1,400 human-centric BPM solutions Ultimus has built. These solutions are very different. They have different specific names, different industries. But when you've built something hundreds of times, you discover that perhaps things aren't all that unique. And there's no longer the need for a tool that allows you to recreate the wheel faster and faster. Instead, you can get smart, apply modern industrial engineering principles. So let me show what I mean. Each one of these solutions, well, over 90% of the human-centric BPM solutions have a requester, a person or a company that wants something. Could be a customer who wants to address a complaint, someone requesting a loan, or a company requesting a building permit. They all have a product or service that is requested, like the mentioned complaint, loan, building permit, or an expense report or a defect that has to be reported. They are all supported by documents, an ID card for the loan, a photo showing the reason for a complaint, or an expense receipt. They need to be validated and approved based on business rules, policies, and regulations, and they need to be routed through a workflow. And there's a history, so you know who did what when. Now, before I show you Compost Process Solution, that's our name for this new industrial approach to low-code BPM, let me point out something. Think about how many demos you have seen of people building things, dragging and dropping, right-clicking, entering some character strings, publishing. Notice that I do not show that. I show you the result of Compost Process Solutions. And that's because in an industrial approach, you specify what you want. Like I want a 4-wheel drive with a big engine, leather seats, things like that. And all the details and complexity of how the actual building of the application is done for you. You will just have to provide your business requirements. In an industrial approach, everything else will be generated automatically. We'll have a webinar to explain how we do this. But for now, let me show you that the holy grail of software development is possible and what it looks like. Therefore, let me switch to our CPS portal. And here it is. So now let's go to the first solution, which is an employee onboarding solution. So the similarities of each solution is here on top. You see the requester, an employee, services, documents, decisions, process, and history. So in this specific solution, the employee, the requester, is the one who's onboarding into the company, and you'll find all the employee information and contact information. Here you see the services, all details about what is needed when the person is onboarding to this company. You have the documents like the employment contract or a social security card. And you have the decisions, the business rules which are there for this process. And you have the process and the history. So now let's move to a very different solution. Let's take the legal case management. And here it is, produced by CPS. You can see the same look and feel. There's also the requester, in this case, the customer, the details, all the details about the legal case, our service, the documents, the decisions, a process, which is shown right here. So you can see all the process steps and the status of the steps. And you have a history. So you can see in detail, what happened in this process. So it's the same look and feel, and there's no reinventing design and reinventing things that you have already done. It's all the same functionality. But once again, let me demonstrate what industrial BPM really means. When you want to buy a BMW in a sport version, you do not have to take care about the appropriate brakes or the suspension system. The system configures and assembles this automatically. And now let me show what this means for us using a simple example. An example of a business requirement is for every expense line in an expense report, a receipt is required. So let me show this to you. Let's go to our expense report solution. And there you find our employee Joshua Walker. He already filled in his details about his business trip. And let's go to the service tab. Now you see the airline ticket is already there. Add a new item. So what we're doing is there's a new item, maybe for the 17th. There was a hotel. And the amount was, well, let's take this. It was in euro. And the expense type is a hotel. So now let's go to the decisions. Here we are. And you see there's a document missing. Let's go to the missing document. Well, for sure, it's the receipt for the hotel. We didn't upload it so far, but let's do it now. Let's take the hotel invoice, upload it to the expense line, and you see it's there. And when you go back to the decisions, the violation is gone. Now you are able to submit the expense report. So my solution development effort is reduced to 0. When there is a new expense line, a receipt is mandatory. That's it. All of the other details are taken care of. You have just to define your requirement, and everything else is generated by CPS based on standardized pre-tested capabilities with built-in solution logic and business relevance. You don't build or program those notions. Now let me show you some additional examples of what you get for free without programming. That's about using CPS on a mobile device and the language capabilities. In order to use your time efficiently, I will play a short video rather than click around and switch between various screens. So let's go to the video. So you will see that the same expense report application looks exactly the same on an iPhone. Everything works the same. That's because with our CPS approach, well, it is the same. There's no extra work required for mobile. Mobile is not a requirement that you have to specify and then reverse engineer into your software. It's a must, and we take care of it without a developer having to build it. And as I said before, the options of different languages are getting even more important than before. And this is another powerful example of our industrial approach. So very often when processes cross people and departments, they cross geographies and of course languages. So you will see the same expense report solution, then it's in Arabic and it's even displayed right to left. So because we know that language and direction are important variables and we build it in. So with CPS, all you need to do is to declare that Arabic or Spanish or German are languages you need. You might have to translate a few specific strings, but that's something you do once and it is carried forward everywhere that string applies. So let's go back to our presentation. So we are separating the content, the what, from the how. So the content from language and device dependency. So let me summarize. The beauty of CPS, or an industrial approach, is that declaring the business requirements of a solution and having it generated automatically is the ultimate in speed and quality. And just like in our example, the requirement is to add a receipt to each expense line. That's all. There's no need to write long and complex technical specification. So from our point of view, it eliminates that upper limit of what you can achieve with tools that just make handcrafting more efficient. And the speed and quality translate into lower software costs and directly into accelerating digital transformation. So now I would like to turn the microphone over to Hasan Irmak of Imageware. As a system implementer, the critical requirement are the speed of implementing, quality, and manageability. Therefore, he tested several low-code platforms. So now I'm happy to hand over to Hasan, getting a view on his considerations about using low-code platforms. Hasan.
Thank you, Carsten. Hello, I am Hasan Irmak, CEO of Imageware AG, and I would like to introduce Imageware very quickly, then spend a few minutes to talk to you about our experiences with low-code BPM solutions and how the Ultimus Compose process solutions compare. Established in 1994, Imageware is a Swiss corporation based in Bern, Switzerland. Our competency is in BPM and ECM solutions, mainly in governmental organizations and regulated industries. As we deliver custom solutions based on standard software, we partner with world's best breed of companies in their respective areas. As for BPM solutions, we have chosen partner with Ultimus. BPM is a catalyst for increasing the ROI on the digital transformation project. Hence, organizations are demanding fully integrated BPM solutions for fast and flexible results in their digital transformation projects. A recent trend in the BPM market is the low-code BPM solutions, allowing BPM developers to develop a flexible solution faster. Although the development is faster than before, we have found that some of the shortcomings of the legacy BPM systems are not addressed. We have noticed that we could not scale to enterprise solution as easy as we ought to, and solutions relied heavily on the capabilities of the individual developers. Lack of standard user interface meant that we had to train users for each solution, as it was the case before. And as you can appreciate, user acceptance of a solution greatly depends on the UI. Here again, we were left to the mercy of the creativity of the developers. The lack of source code control caused repeated coding activities in different processes, often reinventing the wheel time and time again. On top of all this, customers are demanding even faster solution development, more quality, more flexibility to adapt their solutions quickly in the business requirements changes. We are very happy to say that we have found to overcome some of these shortages with Ultimus Compose process solutions. The development is even faster than low-code solutions. At the same time, thanks to its scalability, developed solution can be accessed not only from PCs, but also from any mobile device supporting HTML browser without any further development. Thanks to standard intuitive user interface, nearly no user training is required for additional solutions. Similar to globalized companies, localization is a very important issue also in Switzerland, where we have 4 official languages. We are pleased to say that with minimum translation effort, we can deliver multilingual UI, and each user can select their own language and without affecting anybody else. With these added refinements together, we get very high level of user acceptance of the solution, and there are benefits for the developers as well. They end up with library of Compose solution modules which they can use time and time again, reducing the development time drastically. I would like to show you an example. The process you see is an interpellation process from a cantonal government in Switzerland. All incoming inquiries from citizens, businesses, or any other governmental organizations are registered. Documents are filed, requests sent to related organization unit to reply within required time frame. They can also involve other organization units in order to take their consideration into account, or just to inform them of such a case. It consists of one main and two sub-processes. It has been running successfully over the past 15 years and have completed over 30,000 incidents. It has taken us, at that time, 4 man-months to develop. Recently, we have redone this process with CPS, and we could finish it within 2 weeks. As Carsten has previously presented, the UI looks and feel is always the same. User knows where everything is. In our case, requester, orders, documents, processes, and the history label can change with a click of a button, French or to German. As you can see, all fields and the menus changes to German, but everything is still in the same tabs and in the same place. Once the users understand this one solution, they can understand other solutions very easily. I would like to emphasize the importance of the document tab. Designer defines which documents should be present in order for the process to go through, and CPS does the rest. If there are any missing or invalid documents, the decision tab of the solution sets an incomplete status for the pending documents. The process does not go any further without completing the missing documents. All this without a single line of code. So if we summarize, LowCode solution platform enables us to design and develop processes faster, and we are very happy to use them. But they do have some limitations, which were mentioned before. We have seen that Ultimus has tried successfully to overcome these limitations with composed process solution. With CPS, we have experienced even faster go live. Thanks to the solution and device independence, multilingual UI, and reusable composed solutions, we can help our customers with very quick prototyping and final solutions. Thank you for your attention, and I'm giving the microphone back to Carsten.
Interesting presentation on CPS. So in conclusion, low-code BPM platforms are extremely popular because they speed up the delivery of software that accelerates digital transformation, innovation, and improved customer experience, as we heard, as a very important part of this age of the customers. We believe our unique approach to low-code software development, composed process solutions, really moves the boundary of what is possible in terms of software speed of delivery, quality, and manageability, and of course, costs as well. Because with CPS, we no longer build individual software solutions. They are generated from business requirements. So if you would like to see composed process solutions applied to your specific business needs, you can contact me or go through our website and register for a proof of concept. That's very fast, and of course, it's free. If you can give us an hour of your time to understand your requirements, we will use CPS to build your solution the next day and demo it to you the day after that, or when it's convenient for you. So a few lucky customers have been able to use these CPS proof of concepts in production or our cloud platform. But I'm sorry, I can't promise that for every solution, but we are very excited to show you what's possible nonetheless. So before the wrap up, let's turn to some question and answers. And Joachim, are there any questions?
Yes, Carsten, there are several questions, but I see that we are running out of time, so I would like to focus on a few major questions. So let me start with the first one. And of course, if you can continue to ask questions using the QA area, or later after the webinar, just get in touch with us, and then we can clarify all the questions that you have. So let me see. Yeah, first question here. I would like to understand how CPS works.
Okay, so let me answer this in general sense. We will answer this technology-related questions in detail in our next webinar, as already mentioned. So maybe let me give you an analogy about this. Think about CPS kind of like HTML in the web browser. So HTML is just a description of what should be displayed on a web page, and the browser does the how work, so converting that description into a web page that you can see. So I hope this gives you an idea how CPS is working, and the details in the next webinar. Another one.
Okay. This is also related to CPS. One of the most time-consuming things is integrations. I don't see how CPS can help here.
Oh yeah, well, I'm from the solution business, so thanks for bringing this up, because this is always, quite challenging. And in our solutions, we learned a lot about integrations. We made integrations with other systems very easy, and we use standard technologies like web services. But as we all know that dealing with integrations can really delay software delivery, we addressed this specific part in two different ways. So first, every CPS integration becomes a reusable capability, like the document that I showed or the language. And so done once, it makes it available for all the next solutions. So this is one answer to this. And the second, with CPS, well, you simply need fewer integrations because CPS has built-in CRM and DMS capabilities, minimizing the synchronization need, with applications outside of CPS. And in many cases, it is enough to have data exchanged, when the request starts or ends. And this makes integrations much easier and reduces the efforts extremely. Anything else?
Yeah, we've got many questions here, but as I said, we wanted to stop at 5 o'clock. So let's do one last question, and the others, sorry for not answering it now online. We will get in touch with you after this call and clarify your questions. So thanks for everybody who is sharing his questions. Yeah, this one here, tool platform solution. Yeah, what are people buying? A tool, a solution? Is it in the cloud or on premise?
Okay, so there are many more questions than one in one question. Yeah. So it's just like with the BMW. You are buying the cars, and we are generating and servicing them. The solution can be provided on a cloud platform. Well, could be also in a private cloud or on premise. So it's really just as you like. And the same applies to the commercial models. There's either an annual subscription and a small initial setup fee, or on the other end of the spectrum, a license to a solution runtime and an annual solution support fee. So it's really up to you. You can select the model which makes most sense to you. So that's it.
Yeah, I have other questions, but as more and more questions come in, I think we should do it as discussed. I will summarize the questions after the call internally, and we will get in touch with everyone and then answer them individually, so to avoid that we are missing anything.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carsten.
So, well, this concludes today's webinar. Once again, thank you very much for your participation and attention. We hope that we were able to meet your expectations and that the webinar was beneficial for your future business. Also, thank you very much to Clay Richardson and Hassan Irmak for the interesting speeches. And of course, a recording of the webinar will be published on our website tomorrow. Thank you all, and goodbye.